Good evening. Call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals on June 27th. In accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, I must announce that anyone intending to tape the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk and provide his or her name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we inform those present that any documents that are to be discussed or considered must be made a part of the record of the meeting, and the original or a copy must be submitted to the committee before there will be any discussion regarding the document. Documents include photos, plans, drawings, computer printouts, and simulation video presentations and the like, as well as letters and written materials. First on our agenda tonight is minutes of May 23rd, 2022. Everyone have a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of May 23rd, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And our first hearing tonight is the Bacanti Group, Attorney Reedy, variance from 309.2G, Table 9.4A, which requires freestanding signs to be no more than 50 square feet in size and no more than 25 feet in height in the Business A zoning district. 309.2, Table 9.3D, which states that the maximum allowable changeable copy sign area is 37.5 square feet, and 309.2C6, which states that the maximum allowable sign supporting structure area is 25 square feet. The applicant is seeking relief to allow for the installation of a 134.6 square foot, 27-foot high freestanding sign with 62.11 square feet of electronic changeable sign copy area and a 145.46 square foot supporting structure, all in accordance with a new 5,813 square foot marketplace and gas station with 12 filling positions at the property located at 1506 Riverdale Street in the Business A zoning district. And this is continued from May 23rd. Is here to present?
Here I am, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Tom Reedy, attorney with Bacon Wilson out of Amherst, here on behalf of the applicant. With me this evening, got Chuck Meek from First Hartford and then Peter Yeski from Neon Marketplace. So I don't know if you've had the opportunity, I sent to your planner on Friday updated submission, and you'll see it on the screen behind you. I also have hard copies if folks would want it 11 by 17, if that is easier. Yes, no, or if you've got it on your screen, that's fine as well. Okay, I'll hold on to my copies.
We do.
Great,
Yep.
oh, great, okay. So as the chairman noted, we originally came in here, and hopefully third time's the charm. We came in with 134 square foot freestanding sign for the single use of the Neon Marketplace, which is a food and energy marketplace. And we came back last month and had a revision, still 134.6 square feet, but looked to include the motel. So it was really two uses on that single sign, and we were going to eliminate one of the motel signs. And so we heard what you have to say. We are concerned about safety, given the sign noise, clutter in the area, and the potential for a new signalized intersection with a new curb cut. And so what we're proposing to you this evening is a sign that complies to your height. So it went from 27 feet to 25 feet. A sign that complies with your electronic message center square footage. So I think it's about 33.2 square feet. You'll notice that there's only those two, the regular and the diesel prices, and may they drop that low again. And we do need a variance from the supporting structure. I don't know the exact square footage of it, but it won't be compliant. I think your ordinance requires 25%. And then the size of it, the square footage, is less than 100 square feet. So it's 99.1 square feet. So we went from 134.6 to 99.1. You'll see that it really is bare bones. Where before we had, originally electronic message center, we had a wood-fired pizza sign. Now, so that was the last iteration. And I don't know, Peter, if you've got our first iteration. So you see we've got that brick oven premium cafe our first iteration, you would drop that premium cafe and brick oven pizza down one, and in that space you had electronic message center. So we got rid of both of those since the first time we were here, and so the current proposal is really just Neon Marketplace, the address at the top, obviously, Neon Marketplace, regular gas price, diesel gas price, and then motel. And so we think that this is the minimum that we could be okay with, given the public safety aspect of the uses, of the gas station uses, and of the roadway reconfiguration. So hopefully, and I will point out that this is 2 uses. Each use would have had 50 square feet. This is 2 uses on a single sign. We think it's more efficient, reduces sign clutter, and in that area really makes a lot of sense. So happy to answer any questions, but hopefully we've taken your advice and done something that you're appreciative about.
Okay, so just for housekeeping measure, are you withdrawing the variance for the 25-foot height for the structure?
For the 20, I think we had 27-foot height. Yeah, we're withdrawing that because we do comply.
Okay, so you're looking to withdraw that?
Please.
Okay, then I'm going to make a motion that we allow the applicant to withdraw without prejudice the variance for 309.2G, Table 9-4A, for the requirement of the 25-foot in height in the Business A zoning district. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then the changeable copy, you were reducing that to, what was the amount on that again?
Yeah, based on my math, which somebody should always check, but it's about 33.2 square feet. So you'll see that they're 2
Okay.
feet in height, and then, the cabinet's about 8.3 feet wide. So gets you
Okay.
about 16 and change each, times 2, 33.
So again, with a housekeeping measure,
Yep.
Are we looking to withdraw on the changeable sign, copy sign area?
Yes, sir, without prejudice, please.
Okay, so then I'll make a motion to allow the applicant to withdraw on 309.2, Table 9-3D, for maximum allowable changeable copy sign area of 37.5 square feet, without prejudice. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
So now we have the 99.1 square foot. Are there questions from the board on the new sign proposal, signage area proposal, and on the structure of the sign?
I have a question to Allison. Are they allowed 2 signs for a parcel? Meaning the Super 8 motel, because the one that's butts up to Red's is supposedly staying.
So that's a pre-existing non-conforming, let me find the, yeah, it's pre-existing non-conforming. It would actually be an off-premise sign as well, which is not allowed, so, as long as they don't touch it, it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions from the board?
I have none.
The one question I have is if the Super 8 sign is staying, is there a need to have the motel sign on the new sign?
I would suggest yes, because this is at the curb cut. Yes, if you've got that, perfect. So you'll see from the rendering, assuming DOT, which we've gained some traction with, there you go. So right in, I don't know if you can see the mouse, but over in this area here, this will be the sole curb cut post-development, and so the sign for the motel is right here. So those folks traveling northerly, otherwise, with this sign, that other sign would be way up here. They wouldn't No, until they passed it and then have to loop around and come back down. So having that Super 8 motel sign here identifies the use to the public, the motoring public, for the northerly traveling traffic, so, yes.
Well, then, would there be a need to have the existing sign?
I would think those folks traveling, because that use is tucked back, I would think there'd be a need to have this sign for those folks traveling southerly. And then they'll see it and they'll notice, okay, behind here is the motel. I can slow down and enter into that curb cut. It's not, with the motel stuck back, with neon pulled up, it's a little bit more prominent. And with the motel tucked back, I think we'd want to give them sufficient notice.
Well, I think that's your argument to have the size of the sign at the new entry is to see it heading southbound. You're going to see the motel sign just like you would with your gas and everything. If we approve this sign here, I don't see the need to have the existing one still there.
I can appreciate that. I think this is something that the landowner believes, the motel landowner believes, but would be detrimental to his patrons if they only had that one sign at the curb cut.
Attorney Reedy, is that a separate parcel behind? So is that the
It is.
Super 8? So that's technically two parcels, one of which isn't, they don't control,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
Okay.
But both of the signs are on the Neon property. So it could be a condition of approval.
So a question to Allison. I know that the second sign that they're taking down is a non-conforming, but because we're changing the sign, does that change, does that sign now have to come into conformity?
No, so there were two signs, one of which is on the
On the
neon parcel, the other is on their own parcel. They do have a strip of frontage that's like kind of a pork chop lot that comes around, and it's on their property. That's the one they're proposing to remove, is the one that's on the motel property.
Okay.
It probably is non-conforming. As to height, I don't have the dimensions on it.
Right.
However, the other one that's on the neon parcel, as long as it's not being altered, it can remain, of course, unless you make it a condition.
Right, okay. And just to follow up on Andy's question, what is the size of the motel structure of the sign in the new proposal?
Oh, in the new proposal?
Yes.
It looks like it is 2 feet, 2¼ inches by 8 feet, 4 inches, so 16 plus square feet, probably.
Okay. So it still wouldn't come into conformity. Okay. Further questions from the board?
I'm all set.
Mike, Joe? Seeing none? Anything from planning?
No.
Any questions from the audience? Yes?
Daniel O'Brien, 1452 Morgan Road. I'm District 4 City Council. It's in my district. North Riverdale is very much underdeveloped, or the development that's there is aged. That building is considered blighted, from what I understand. What's the total package? How much money is being spent on this whole project? A company is willing to invest $7 to $8 million in that area. I'm grateful that they're there, that they have the confidence in our community to come in. This is the kind of business we welcome, especially to North Riverdale, which is it needs an investment, it needs money put into it, and you get the bonus of having that difficult intersection upgraded and improved. So with those things allowed, you also have a tremendous amount of foot traffic. There's a lot of residential areas down there where people live in motels, hotels, not just the Motel 8, but it's a heavily traveled foot traffic area. And what this store will offer is the ability for them to buy, decent food at a good price, give them some variety. And the whole idea of a variance is it doesn't change the rules, it makes exceptions. That sign is a beautiful sign. It doesn't, it only enhances the area and the property. So that's what a variance is. It's flexible based on a situation. It's not changing the rules. It's saying, yes, this argument is sound. We believe that it's a good way to go. And the only thing I would say, like he said before, is it's all contingent on keeping those prices that were advertised there. They can't have it unless those prices remain a constant. But I'm fully supportive of it, and I hope you will allow this variance because it will be a very good thing for our district and our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience? Yes, ma'am. You just have to come to the microphone, I'm sorry. Or if we can bring a microphone to her, that'd be great.
My name's Eileen Stopa, and 54 Colony Road, West Springfield, right off of Memorial. And I travel Riverdale Road frequent, and on any given day, and other people have told me the same, they see at least 4 people asking for money, distracting, standing on the island. What is going to be done with this new business with a motel to discourage more of that congestion and distraction?
Maybe the applicant could answer the question?
Sure. So I think, as you heard the councilman say, this is a significant investment, and I think it's going to help clean up the area. I mean, I don't know if we've got any, probably go to the existing conditions just to see what you've got and see if we can go up even more. I mean, this is post-development. You can see clean lines, good site visibility, and also a significant investment, open 24 hours. So they'll have lights, security cameras, et cetera, and they want to make sure that their business flourishes. And then you'll see, this is what's existing. You see the overgrown vegetation, just with all due respect, relatively unkept. So I think when you see this new location, Neon Marketplace is new to this area. They're going to have a site over off Memorial Ave, River Road. And so I think they're looking to put their best foot forward. And so I think you'll see just a lot of maintenance, care, et cetera, landscaping, and just pride in that area.
Didn't address what I brought up.
I don't know, then what did I miss? I don't know how we can, I mean, that's, I think, beyond us, frankly. I mean, if you're talking about, like, we can control what's on site, but if you're talking about panhandlers here in the island, I mean, that is, I don't even think that's zoning board of appeal issue, frankly.
It is not a zoning board of appeals issue. However, it is a concern of the audience. So if you do have any type of answer for her, that would be fine. If you don't, then sometimes there are
Yeah, I
no
mean, I don't,
answers.
that's a public way. I don't think we have any right to do anything in that public way. And I don't know enough about the laws of panhandling to know what you can or can't do to folks within public ways.
Sure. Okay. I think that's the best that the applicant can answer your question. I'm sure you're not satisfied with that answer, but is there anything else that you'd like to ask the applicant?
The police are not enforcing this, vacancy.
Yeah, that's something that you have to take up with your city council. for any ordinance that can possibly be taken care of, and/or the police department, that they can enforce a city ordinance on that there. Yes, there's somebody in the audience that would like to speak to that.
I can speak to that. As a city councilor, you cannot pass an ordinance. It's a First Amendment right to stand in the road and ask for money. You can't stop it. There are no vagrancy laws, and the police have zero they can do. That's why. It is unfortunate that there are no tools in that toolbox for them. So they can drive by, but they can't tell them to leave, only if it's a public safety where they're impeding traffic. But it's unfortunate in that vagrancy laws and panhandling per se have been thrown out and found to be unconstitutional.
Did you have anything else for the applicant?
I witnessed Sunday leaving.
Just one second. Could we get her a microphone, please? Thank you.
Sunday, I witnessed leaving Riverdale Shops at that intersection inside of Riverdale Shops. Now they're bringing, there's a man holding a sign that says homeless, jobless, which there's no excuse for that in today for being jobless. Now they're bringing women and tiny babies standing next to them. So they're bringing them into the equation to get you to, give them cash.
Again, as our counselor has said, something that we really can't address, and certainly this applicant can't address that in this meeting at this time. I'm sorry we can't get an answer for you on that, but we will take it under advisement at this, but there's nothing that the ZBA can take any actions upon panhandling or anything like that. So, anyone else from the audience? Seeing none, anything further from the board?
No.
Seeing none, anything further from the applicant?
No, sir.
Okay, no further testimony, no further
think
changes at this point?
I think we've got it all out there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Give us a couple moments.
I do like the opportunity to make this contingent upon removal of that other sign, but my feet aren't dug into that just to clean up the visual clutter on Riverdale.
I think if you look at their rendering, Reed, they've already, by removing the tap house grill, that sight line is so much safer for the public way. It cleans it up immensely. I think they're already cleaning that up way more than we could expect out of a project.
Joe?
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be unfair to bring in the other sign in compliance, or bring it into this approval, if it's approved. I think it's two separate things, two separate parcels. It's already non-conforming, so at some point in the future, it may go away on its own. But I think this is a tremendous opportunity. I think they meet the hardship requirement, especially on top of financial burden, public safety. So I think that as a whole package meets all the requirements. I think the sign's done. They shrunk it down, did everything we asked the third time around. So I think it's something that really should be passed, and I really don't have any issues with how it's presented as is. I look at that second sign as something kind of that should be left alone regarding this proposal on the table.
Okay, I appreciate all the changes that the applicant has made, and making the changes and withdrawing 2 of the variances of the 4. I still, as I had a hard time with other signs, I still have a hard time with the hardship. Can you explain, Joe, how we come into the hardship of, we know of some financial hardship with having a smaller sign. Can you explain how we come in with shape, soil, or topography, because hardship only on the benefit of financial hardship cannot be the only hardship?
Correct. So it's a shape. It's a very irregular lot. which I think is very clear. I don't know if they can pull it up. So you get an irregular shaped lot, which I think meets the hardship, and again, compounded by financial, public safety. To me, it's a great package, but it's a very funky lot. There's no squared lines. And that's kind of the theme in that corridor on Riverdale. So I think the hardship is met, again, with additional reasons to approve that hardship.
I agree with Joe. I think the curve of the road as well, and the funky intersection having the three-way light is a difficult section to get people in and out safely.
Yeah, and I've been there a long time, was Piccadilly. I don't think I was around to the prior owners, the steakhouse there, but Piccadilly Pub, the brewery that was there, or the new restaurant that was there. I mean, it's just a funky spot, funky intersection, and I think we have the opportunity to approve a hardship, approve a variance that's going to benefit not only the whole town, but specifically that corridor, which can be dangerous, and this cleans up a lot. So I think this project does a lot of the heavy lifting for people in town, sign clutter, public safety, but I don't see how you can call that lot a normal-sized lot. I think it's an irregular shape lot, in my professional opinion.
I'm on board with the shape issue because of the two parcels, the flag lot situation, and the fact that there's like only one curb cut for all of this makes an awful lot of sense along this stretch of Riverdale.
Andy?
I have no comments.
Okay. And with that, we have board members that are in favor of approval, so I'm going to make a motion to approve a variance of 309.2, excuse me, that's been withdrawn. I'm going to make a motion to approve a variance of 309.2 C6, which allows a supporting structure up to 145.46 square feet, with a size of the sign being 99.1 square feet. The sign will not be taller than 25 feet. In the Business A1 zoning district at 1506 Riverdale Street in the Business A zoning district. The hardship the board has felt that has met through shape and hardship due to financial reasons, being a dual property piece. And the variance to the zoning ordinance allowing these dimensions of the sign can be issued without nullification or substantial derogation to the intent of the ordinance. Is there a second?
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify, 309.2G, 94A requires freestanding signs to be no more than 50 square feet, and that's the subject of the variance.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, I just want it on the record.
Yep, so let me amend that motion to include 309.2G 94A. Thank you, Allison, for picking that up on me. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And one opposed. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right. Our next hearing is Dmitry Ivanov, special permit under 304.3A to allow for the change and alteration of an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling to a mixed-use structure at the property located at 1516 Memorial Avenue in the Business A zoning district. Is someone here to present?
Good
Yes, sir.
evening. My name is Olubek Gusinov, 249 Main Street.
And if you could just explain a little bit about what you're looking to do?
We want to build a mixed-use building, which is going to be office building on the first floor, and it's going to be 2 units upstairs, like a residential.
I'm sorry, what's going to be upstairs?
Upstairs is going to be 2 units. It's going to be residential 2 units, like apartments.
So you're going to have office on the first floor?
Yes.
And two-family on the second floor?
Yes.
Okay,
Second and third floor, actually.
second and third.
Three-story house.
Okay.
So just to clarify, the zoning ordinance was amended for this zoning district to allow mixed use with the provision that the first floor has to be a commercial or business use. It can't be residential.
Questions from the board?
I have a question to Allison. 304.3 pertains to multifamily and non-residential structures. This is a single-family structure that we're talking about. Does this even apply?
Yeah, it's kind of, it's awkward because it's going from a single family to a multifamily, non-residential structure. So I would say, yes, it does apply.
I was kind of thinking that if alteration and reconstruction of a non-conforming single and two-family structures, it's zoning, I don't know, doesn't really seem to address this.
So the use isn't, the conversion to office with unit, multi-family is allowed. So he could do that technically within the footprint of the house that's there. However, he then wants to alter the structure to, add a couple stories to it to better support those uses. So, in the process of events, I think ultimately what you're looking at approving is whether or not the structure can be changed. Not necessarily, the use is part of it, but that he doesn't need your permission to change the use.
Okay. So to the applicant, is this a modification of the existing structure, or you're raising that structure and building this?
So it's gonna be more like, let's say it's only gonna be one wall of the old property is gonna be there. The rest all is gonna be brand new. So it's also gonna have a sprinkle system because it's a the business building. So it's gonna be everything's gonna be changed.
Allison, one more question for you. From a parking standpoint, is what's on there sufficient for a two-family as well as a business?
Yeah, yep. So we went over that, the square footage of the office. A sizable portion of the first floor will be taken up by stairwells and so on. So the actual square footage of the office was minimal. So that needed 2 spaces, and then each unit needs 2 spaces. So I think there's a couple extra as like a buffer.
There's only 5 spaces, I believe.
There's 3 in front and 5 in the rear.
And this meets the criteria for lot coverage, permeability, and parking in the front yard?
So the zoning ordinance was amended to remove the prohibition on parking in the front yard, and the maximum lot coverage is 90% in this district, so yes, it's under that.
Where do you plan to put the snow when you need to plow it?
We have no issue even we plow that big, like we own the parking lot. We plow that. We really don't have that much issue with the snow. if it's not gonna be maybe something crazy, but it was a problem with the snow. Probably 70% of the West Springfield that have the issue.
Further questions? Anything from planning?
No, nothing further.
Could you just hand the microphone to that young lady right there, please?
Sure.
Thanks for calling me a young lady. Eileen Stopa, 54 Colony. This is the second meeting I've been at for changing the use on a property, the property, two properties abutting Wentworth Estates. Can I ask what kind of business this is going to be?
Yes, you can.
The office is gonna be our own office. We own a real estate company and we're gonna make that office for ourselves. So it's gonna be me and my other partner and one other office worker, that's all.
So we're talking a real estate company office. So that would mean that you're going to have people coming and going?
No.
Parking on the street? We got the Big E, we got,
I mean, we don't have anybody coming to our office. It's like only family business. So it's not like we're selling, we're buying or something. That's only like an investment company, real estate investment company. So basically, we don't have anybody coming.
so you buy and sell like rental apartments?
You mean what we do? We're buying and building the multi-family houses in town. We're buying old house and put a new house. We're doing that right now. We have one building in York State, and we built few in Windsor State in past years. We built one in York State. I mean, we're building, yes, we built one in Southport. We did one in George State. So that's how we do. We're buying old houses. The house is being like fully, like nothing, it's not getting out of the inside. So we tear it down and put a new house.
I know they're changing a lot of the older properties now to like group homes.
No, that's not what we do.
Okay.
I mean, we've been doing this since 2015, I think, and we never have any issues from the town or from from police or from anybody that complains about our tenants.
Uh-huh.
All our apartments are brand new apartment. All our tenants, it's like they're paying more than what average of the apartment in town. So that's a new house that we all get good tenants. Basically, myself, I don't take any singles in my apartment. It's too much headache.
You don't take what?
Singles, like young kids, like college people, because the other neighborhoods always complain. And I don't want that problem.
I'm getting a lot of feedback from, there's a multifamily building on Bosworth Street, and I'm hearing a lot from people that I know on that street about, these are people that are aged out of the foster care system, that have intellectual problems, and they're going on the other abutting property owner's property. Things are already being missing off personal, private property. One of my friends said one of the residents came to her and said, "Can I smoke in front of your garage? Because they won't let us smoke in front of our building." And he had an electronic court bracelet on.
No, that's not our tenants. Sure. I mean, I have a house, we have an apartment, three-family house in Bosworth State. There was a few years ago, it was get fired, and we bought it on land, and we built a new one. But like I said, we have the three-family, they're all like they're all married, and, they're good tenants.
Okay.
I really don't have any problem with that.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else from the audience that had any questions?
Robert Bork, 51 York Street, West Springfield. The only problem I have is putting a business in a piece of property that's residential. I wouldn't have a problem if he built another single-family home or even if you built a two-family. But making a business and a residential property together, I would rather see just the second part of that than the first part. That's my only objection to that.
Unfortunately, as our town planner has explained, the ordinances have changed, which allows for this mixed use in this district, or in this zone, excuse me. So this board would have no way to change that ordinance. All that we can do is allow for the structure to be built. We can't allow or say you can't have commercial property on the first floor. Actually, they have to have a commercial property on the first floor, as the town planner explained. Allison has explained the new ordinance policy at this time. So this board would not have the ability to say you can't have any commercial property on the first floor. So we wouldn't have that authority to do.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Kathleen Curran, 95 Haywood Avenue. I just have a couple of questions. I can't quite picture what's happening. In my mind, I see single-family house with 2 stories and an attic. Is the applicant going to, I understand he's going to remodel the first floor to be the business and do something else with the house, modify the house, add to the house to make it for the residential part? My second question is, will most of the front and rear yard be paved to accommodate the parking? Because just eyeballing the property, it doesn't seem like there's much yard currently that would accommodate parking. So I'm assuming that most of the yard will be taken up with parking space. I just have questions, no particular opinion at this point. Thank you.
Okay. If you could answer those questions, please.
About the second floor paved, I think we have a bumper about 5 foot, right, Allison? And we have a 10 foot on one side of the house. And front we have a grass too.
Yeah, there's required buffer between parking and abutting properties of 5 feet, which is met, and then the portion where the house is actually 10 feet off the property line, and that full 10 feet is pervious, grass, and then the remainder is mostly paved. And the house, I don't know if you want to describe what you're going to build, but it's a 3-story structure.
It's a 3-story. Yeah, it's gonna be. So the first floor is gonna be small. First floor basically is a small office because of all the staircases and the utility rooms we're gonna have there. And the second and third floor is gonna be basically right on the left side, 2 apartments, up and down, like a duplex, basically on top of the business.
Does that answer all your questions, ma'am? Yes. Thank you. Anybody else in the audience would like to speak?
I just want more clarification on the 2 apartments on the second level. Is this people that are going to be involved in the business or not involved in the business downstairs?
No, the business is gonna be owner use, so we're gonna use them. So basically, we don't wanna rent it. We're building for ourselves there. So we're gonna move our office over there.
Do we know the square footage of the business?
I don't think I have exact floor plans in here. I have the elevations that you can see, but we discussed, it was like 600 square feet, I think.
600 or something after all the staircases, because the both, there is 2 staircases on the left and right side, I think. Yeah.
I don't have floor
I don't
plans.
have.
So it won't be any larger than a 600 square foot?
I don't know exactly what, but it's not big. I don't know. Do you have one? Those, let me just.
I don't have floor plans.
Okay.
So it's a 28 by 50 foot building.
So it's 1,400. The way we put the parking lot, I think, we did up to 3 parking spaces, I think, right? There was a 300 square foot per each parking lot for the office building.
Yeah, so there's a total of 8 spaces, only 4 are needed for the residential unit, so there are 4 for the office,
So-
which would get you up to 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
It wouldn't be that big, though, you
No,
don't
we're
have
not gonna.
enough.
And the square footage of the stairwells does not compute to the commercial part of the unit, correct?
Correct, yeah, so it would only be the actual office, the portion that's used for the office. The stairwells are for the residential use and are tied to that.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none. Anything else from the audience?
Will there be a sign involved on the first floor?
Like you mean a street sign or something, like the guy was the group before us? No.
Are you gonna have any type of a wall sign, anything like
Yeah,
that for
probably.
the
I mean,
business?
we'll put on a building, maybe,
Yeah.
our company name or something,
Yeah. Okay.
but nothing crazy like.
That would all have to come into compliance with current ordinances as well, so. Yeah. Anybody else? Seeing none, anything further from the
No,
applicant?
sir.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Comments, questions?
I guess mine is really only a comment. For the granting of this, it's just like number 3 says, be consistent with the architectural design and the style of abutting properties in the surrounding neighborhood. I do not feel that this meets that criteria, especially at 41 feet when everything else adjacent is like just 2 stories, including those condos.
Andy?
I have no comment.
Mike?
I have no comment.
Joe?
I guess I'd probably echo Reed's comment. I mean, I think it's, the design wouldn't be what I would do. Hopefully, there's some involvement with that on planning board, but I think other than that, it fits the criteria.
I agree with Joe on that. I do think by the rules, it fits all the criteria, but compared to the condos there, I don't know the height of those buildings versus what he's proposing here, and it's, that would be a guess on my part, but.
Listen, I just had a question, and I know that the 5-foot buffer is new in town, a new ordinance in town. But this being a 3-story structure, does that change the buffer?
The setback for
That's
the
what I meant. I'm
structure?
sorry,
No, I
that's
just
what
want to make
meant.
sure
Yes.
we're talking
Yes,
about the
the
same
setback,
thing.
I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't.
It does not.
No.
And that's what,
The height applies to setbacks for accessory structures, but not the principal structure.
okay, thank you. So this is, again, the only area that it does not meet the criteria, which is a subjective point, and I can kind of agree with Reed, is, does it fit into the neighborhood? But all the other conformities really fit for the special permit. And unfortunately, the town did not take into account larger structures going in with just a 5-foot setback when they passed this ordinance.
So I just want to clarify, the structure is 10 feet off of the east side and 16 feet off of the west side. So the 5-foot buffer is just around the parking area.
Okay. Thank you, Allison, I appreciate that. Any further comments from the board?
Well, I guess the other thing I struggle with on structure across the street is the Big E, which all the buildings directly across from it would probably be 2 to 3 stories high and probably the same height. Granted, it has a 4-lane highway between it.
You mean, Mike, about the height, right?
Correct.
Okay, so. Any further comments? Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to conditionally approve a special permit at 1516 Memorial Avenue in the Business A zoning district, 304.3A, to allow the change and alteration of an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling to a mixed-use structure at the property. The existing structure does not comply with the current zoning ordinance due to
Law area.
thank you, in the zoning district. Proposal of the alteration of the pre-existing non-conforming structure as set forth in the application is compatible in the type and scale with abutting commercial-type uses and with the characteristic of the neighborhood. The proposed alteration and use of the pre-existing nonconformity structure is in harmony at the Business A zoning district and will constitute no significant hazard to abutters, pedestrians, or vehicles. The proposed alteration of the pre-existing nonconforming structure will constitute no nuisance by reason of air, water, or noise pollution, and will not create any new nonconformity by building this structure. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay.
That's 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Good luck, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Is there anything further to come before the board else? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Good night, everybody.